Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dom's Daily Sports. I'm your host, Dom, and before we get into this video, please do me a solid and go down below, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss those juicy videos that we come out with in the future. In today's video, I'm here today because I want to recap the conference championship games that we had happen this last week. One of the games was pretty good. The other game, the exact opposite. So in this video today, we're going to recap the games, and then we're also going to go over the Super Bowl and give my preview of what I think will happen in that game and the keys to victory for each team. So let's get right into the preview. The first game, we had the AFC Championship game, which the results were the Kansas City Chiefs taking down the Tennessee Titans 35-24. Now in this game, we had a pretty good game throughout. In the very beginning, the Titans looked like they had a chance to upset the Chiefs. They were up 10-0. But then, as we all know, the holy Mahomes came out of nowhere and did it all. He did it with his feet and he did it with his arms on the ground and in the air. Like, the man every week always shows us why he is the best quarterback in the NFL and will be one of the greatest in the future. The man just breaks records every week. In this game, the Chiefs were able to win the game because of one thing, and that is to stop the Tennessee Titans' X Factor, which was Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had a rush touchdown in the first quarter, but after that, he was very, very quiet the whole rest of the game. He was only able to rack up 70 yards and one touchdown on 20 carries. So huge kudos to the Kansas City Chiefs on doing something that a lot of teams could not do in the past few weeks, which is stop the man himself, the Hulk, Derrick Henry. Now, Ryan Tannehill did have a decent game. He was able to help keep the Titans in the game with him tossing 2 touchdowns, but it just wasn't enough to take down the Mahomes, who ended up throwing up for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns with 50 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. It was a really great game all around, and the X factor of this game was obviously Patrick Mahomes. This man, like I said, he gets it done, and a great win by the Kansas City Chiefs, and congratulations to them on making to the Super Bowl, and a 50-year drought that is finally over for all KC fans. Can I get a hallelujah for all the Chiefs fans? Congratulations. Now let's move on to the next game. We have, I almost don't even want to talk about it just because how bad of a game it was. But in the AFC Championship game, we had the San Francisco 49ers taking down the Green Bay Packers 37-20. Now, when you hear that 37-20, don't let that fool you thinking, oh, maybe it was a good game. No, it really was not at all. Like, the Chiefs had, in the first half, were up 27-0. The game was basically already over in the first half. The Packers just did not come to play in this game. Rodgers did not look like himself. He wasn't able to make the throws on third down. He was getting pressured all day, and no one was making plays. And that Packers defense was just atrocious, just blasphemous, just terrible. You look at the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't do anything. He threw 8 times, 6 completions, and had only 70 yards. And he won the AFC Championship game. How do you win a big playoff game with only that kind of stat line? Well, I'll tell you what. How you win that kind of game is having a guy named, it wasn't Tevin Coleman. He got injured. It wasn't Matt Breida, who was the second string and only had 1 rush attempt. No, it was Raheem Mostert with 29 carries, 220 yards, and 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. What a game. The man just came out of nowhere and said, you know what? I'm going to put this game on my back and I'm going to take us to the Super Bowl. And he did just that. What a great game for Raheem Mostert. And it's so awesome to see a guy like him just explode onto the scene. So the X factor obviously in this game was Raheem Mostert. And congratulations to the San Francisco 49ers on making to the Super Bowl. It's been a little while since they've been to the Super Bowl against the Ravens. But what a great win by them. And we'll have a really good Super Bowl on hands when it comes up. So now in the Super Bowl, we have the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. This is going to be a really great game. One thing I saw today on a stat line was these teams are the 2 fastest teams speed-wise in the NFL. The Chiefs are first and the 49ers are second. So you know we're going to have a lot of explosive plays in this game. One thing to note in this game is the injury reports heading into this game. We look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They have no one on the injury report as of now. Basically, Chris Jones was on the injury report and played last week, but he was a limited participant and should be good to go Super Bowl week with the 2 weeks. So the Chiefs are looking pretty healthy for this game, which is a really good sign for them. Turning to the other team, the 49ers, they have one big injury, which is Tevin Coleman. He suffered a dislocated shoulder in the Green Bay game in the second quarter, which ultimately led to Raheem Mostert having his big game. He is said to be hopeful to be able to play in Super Bowl 54 and will have 2 weeks to recover. So he has a really good chance to play, and he'll be a huge piece that the 49ers will need to be able to play. And you know that Tevin Coleman's going to want to play after not getting a Super Bowl ring back in Super Bowl 50 against the New England Patriots. Same with their head coach, Kyle Shanahan. So I really hope that he's able to play because they're going to need him in this game. Even though Raheem Mostert had a big game, they're going to need their top back in Tevin Coleman. For me, the X factor for the Kansas City Chiefs is throw the ball a lot. Score early. Basically, the Chiefs need to put points up quick and need to put pressure on the 49ers. They need to force the Niners to throw the ball. I know that Jimmy Garoppolo is a decent quarterback. He's top 15, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to diss on the guy. But I do not trust him in big game scenarios yet until he proves it to me that he can do it. If I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm Andy Reid. In my playbook, I'm making sure that we score early and I'm making sure that we put pressure on the Niners because you've got to force the Niners to throw the ball early. You do not want them to do what they did against the Packers and be able to run the ball all game and be able to control the game by game management. Now, flipping it to the other side, we're going to look at the San Francisco 49ers. My keys of what they need to do to win this game is they need to get pressure on Mahomes. They have probably the best front seven in the NFL led by Nick Bosa. I mean, they just get pressures every single game on the quarterback. If you looked at the NFC Championship game, Rodgers had no time in the pocket. Same with the divisional round game against the Vikings, Kirk Cousins. No time in the pocket. That's how the Niners have been able to win games on defense, was just pressuring like crazy. They have a good corner in Richard Sherman, and they haven't had to cover a huge amount of time because of their front seven. So the keys to the game for them is they need to keep pressure on Mahomes and get the Chiefs off the field early. Also, they need to run the ball a lot. They need to control this game and keep the Chiefs off the field on offense. They need to make sure that the Niners have the ball all game and that they're controlling their own destiny throughout. But either way, I think this will be a really great Super Bowl. My prediction is I will take the Kansas City Chiefs to win this. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game, and they're going to end that 50-year drought that they had of not making it to the Super Bowl. So, Kansas City Chiefs, you're Super Bowl 54 champions. So, either way, if the 49ers win, I'm just excited to finally see a great Super Bowl. Last year, we had the Patriots and Rams, which is, I mean, if you're a defensive fan, it was a fun Super Bowl, but if you're a fan of seeing a lot of big plays, it was a really boring Super Bowl. So I'm really hoping that this one's a lot different. The two stories in this Super Bowl are, will the Chiefs be able to get their second Super Bowl ever since Super Bowl IV, which was, a long time ago. I wasn't born. Heck, I don't even think my dad was born back then. But it was against the Minnesota Vikings. Or will the San Francisco 49ers be able to get their sixth Super Bowl ring, which will be tied for the most Super Bowl rings in NFL history with the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers? And will Tevin Coleman and Kyle Shanahan revenge their Super Bowl loss to the New England Patriots, where they allowed a 28-3 lead slip through their fingers? But with that being said, I'd like to thank you all for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed, please go down below, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and turn on notifications. I appreciate all your guys' support and love. Have a great day. And remember, come back the next day.